Okay, my name's Jeremy Lacorny. I'm a middle school science teacher, and I've just been asked to talk a bit about our integrated unit of work that we developed this year, which incorporates maths and science but incorporates PE as well. So that made it a little bit different. The reason why we developed the unit was because we had a class that was taught by the same teacher for maths, science and PE. Which gave us the opportunity to integrate them all, just to see how it would work as a bit of a pilot program. So what we did was we sat down with a PE staff member, a maths staff member, a science staff member and the person that was going to be teaching the subject, and we worked out which parts of the curriculum would fit together. We came up with some assessment tasks, a teaching program. The unit ended up going over about 6 weeks, and we all contributed to it, and then Jared, the teacher, actually delivered it earlier this year. The next question is, how does it cater to different learning styles and abilities? Well, we made sure that we differentiated each assessment task. So within each task we used what's called the almost sum model, where we the task would explain to students what all students were expected to do, what most students were expected to do and what some students would achieve. So that enabled for the different levels of abilities, because students would be able to achieve at different levels and work at different levels depending on where they were at.
Was that given to all students?
Yeah, so on a task sheet, it will have the almost and some criteria presented there. So they actually make the decision themselves of what level they're going to achieve at. And that has nothing to do with the assessment. It's more the different the scope within the task of what they can do. Okay, so how it is assessed, I think the assessment was pretty traditional in terms of it was just assessed the same as those tasks have normally been done. So the whole integration of the subjects didn't change assessment at all. So they were just assessed normally. There would have been normal criteria, rubrics that were used to assess each task, whether it be a science practical report or a maths test or a PE practical where they were assessed on their practical skills and that sort of thing. All of the normal PE, maths or science assessment procedures were used for those. Okay, difficulties with implementation. The main difficulty would be, and the reason, as I said, why this got up and running was because we had a teacher teaching the same subjects, the same class for maths, science and PE. So that was really what got this up and running. We would have had more difficulty had there been a separate PE teacher to the maths and science teacher. That being said, there's a plan next year to actually work with a team so that the PE staff member and the maths science staff member can work together now that we have the unit, so that they can actually work together and try and deliver this together. So we're going to see how that works. If we were to try and do that from the beginning, it probably would have been a bit more difficult. What we've been able to do now is run the unit with Jared doing all of it himself, and he's been able to get feedback, look at what worked, what didn't work, and now we can iron out some of those things for next year. So in terms of implementation, there is difficulty with timetabling and staffing, but we're hoping to overcome that by producing some resources and teaching programs, that sort of thing, so that the PE staff member and the maths science staff member can work together to deliver it. Modified for higher level students, I think it could be. Obviously, with the differentiation in each task, there's scope for that. If we were to take it to a Year 10 level, I think we'd probably just develop a new unit based around Year 10 curriculum. So whether it be the PE, the science, the maths curriculum, we'd just make something new with the Year 10 curriculum would probably be what we would do. The last question, was it successful? It certainly was. Jared, the staff member, came up with a bit of a survey and got students to write a reflective report, and those were glowing. He got really good comments and feedback from students about their enjoyment. I think the obvious thing that we knew we would get was, by linking PE with maths and science, obviously students are going to be more engaged by that, and if they see the connection between the soccer prac that they did in lesson 1 and then the statistics and the data analysis that they're doing the next lesson related to that game, they're much more likely to be engaged by the maths component. And then the science aspect was to do with heart rate and that sort of thing, so that brought that in. They could see the link between the sport that they were competing in and how the heart rate was being affected and why that was happening and those sorts of things. So it was certainly successful. Jared had commented that at that point in the year it was the most engaged his students had been, and they really enjoyed it. We had a couple of parent emails as well commenting on how their kids were really enjoying it and working on the tasks at home and really got into it. So some of the model hearts that they produced were submitted to the Oliphant Science Awards, and they received awards for those submissions, so that was good. So yeah, it was certainly successful, and we'd like to implement it at a wider level in future years, but we just need to sort of do that step by step. But yeah, that's about it.